Hi, I'm Kathy Guy with Granger Community Church. We're talking about feelings. And immediately as I said that, there are people who went, feelings? I don't want to talk about my feelings. I would rather avoid talking about my feelings at all costs. And I understand that that makes you squirm. Because there's a lot of us, if we process information, we're feelers or thinkers. I actually prefer to think things, is what many people will tell me. I think I'm not happy. And it's like, well, that's going to be a tough thing to work through until we can get down to the feelings. What feelings do is, actually Mark Beeson, our teacher here, as senior pastor at Granger Community Church, says it very well, that you either deal with your feelings or your feelings will deal with you. Feelings are God-given. And when you try to deny them and push them down, you actually think they're not going to come out. They come out. I often equate it to at Chuck E. Cheese. I used to have to take my kids and play those games and all that wonderful germ activity infested stuff that they have there with all those sick kids, I always thought. And it was the hammer that had little heads that popped up. And there was a hammer, and you had to pop and hit these heads that keep popping. And that's what it's like with feelings. They just jot out at the most unsuspecting and unhelpful times. And that's what happens, and that's the importance of trying to figure out what's going on and how can I process these feelings in an effective way. Mark has said there's two ways to deal with your feelings. You either write them out or you talk them out, but they got to come out. And so if you're a person who likes some space, maybe journaling is something you need to do. If you're a very social person, maybe you need to talk to somebody. And that's why most often, sometimes people will just say, it just felt good to get it out. It just felt good to talk to someone. Because it validated that they have feelings, that they matter. What feelings communicate? You don't share feelings with people you don't care about. Sharing feelings communicates, you matter to me, and this relationship matters to me. And because you matter to me, I'm going to put myself in this uncomfortable and sometimes vulnerable position and tell you how I feel. That's what sharing feelings communicates. It says you matter. The purpose of communicating our feelings is just that. It's to communicate. There's no bigger reason for it. However, many people say there's no point to tell them how I feel, to tell her how I feel. It won't matter anyway. They won't change. They don't care. You missed the point. The point was not to get a change in their behavior. The point was to tell them they matter and was to communicate that you matter and that what you feel matters. That's it. There's no bigger agenda than that. I just need to let you know where I'm coming from. And because what adults do, they communicate their feelings, and then they allow the other person they're in relationship with to decide how to respond. How the other person responds to your feelings is up to them. I often have to remind people, and remind myself, as much as we want to change people, we can't. We can't make them be who we want them to be. We can't change their behavior and change how they respond. All we can really do is let them know how they're feeling, how we're feeling, and let them decide how to respond. What's that going to mean? If I tell you how I feel and you don't change your behavior, that's going to hurt me. Yep, it is. But you know what? You're an adult. You can deal with it. You'll survive it. Because the lie that we tell ourselves, the facade, the game we play, the fantasy, if I don't acknowledge it, it will just go away. Not true. It will stay, and it will grow, and it will turn into a much bigger problem unless you at least get it out. Now, I've had some people really wonder, I'm there, my spouse won't talk to me. Well, there's another thing that you have to check out. Are you a safe person to talk to? Do you create a safe experience for people to talk to? We've kind of been going at this feelings thing from you have to choose to step in and communicate your feelings. But wow, when someone trusts you enough to open up, you're going to want to make real certain that you respond well. So do you create a safe experience for others to talk to you? Or as soon as they open their mouth, do you go, well, you shouldn't feel that way. Don't blame me for how you're feeling. Not helpful. Don't do that. You shouldn't do that, like at all. Your job is to say, hey, wow, that's really surprising. I wasn't expecting this. And if you can't think of anything helpful to say, you should just shut up. Silence. Very good. Okay? Say nothing other than thanks for telling me. Thanks for telling me. I don't know what to do with that. I'm still got to figure it out. But at least if you can, that's the first step. But then eventually, as this relationship gets a little bit more safe and healthy, it can be, hey, you know what? Thanks for letting me know. I appreciate your trust. I can't tell you right now how I'm going to respond to it. But that's the beginning. Create a safe experience. The other thing in being safe is seek to understand. Do you understand someone's experience? If my spouse comes up and says, hey, I really just feel like all you do is spend time at work, and I don't feel like I'm a priority to you. Any hint that that might be something personal? Did you pick anything up there that might be something that happens in my life pretty regularly? It's the pattern that my husband and I go through. And what I have to do is sit back and try to assess. Sometimes it's absolutely dead on. And so I have to kind of go like, you're absolutely right, I've missed the mark. I'm sorry, thanks for letting me know. There's other times, and I wouldn't say this if I didn't have his permission, where he might be going, you know what? I don't know, I was just upset about something else, and that's our typical thing we always fight about, so you know what, I just said it. And now that's really not what's going on. So I have to be able to just listen to that and then seek to understand wow, that's really funny that I'm really struggling with hearing that because I was pretty sure that I haven't been going over too far. I thought we'd been spending lots of time together. And so we have to work through that and seek to understand. Another place where this was so helpful for me, my kids are in their 20s now. But when we had a 16-year-old, our son really had a tough time in high school. And one of the things that, unfortunately, I thought was something helpful to say was, you have such potential, as he was failing at different things and classes and really struggling with friends. And he said, I'm so sick of everybody telling me I have potential. Now, as a parent, I'm like, why? That's such a compliment. Why would you not see that as a compliment? And his comment was, because you're basically saying that where I am right now isn't good enough. And wow, in that seek to understand moment, when I was able to hear him, that changed everything about the rest of his teen years and his adult years and the ability to have a great adult relationship with our adult son. Because when you seek to understand, you are validating that this other person matters, their feelings matter, and just the appreciation that they trust you. So that can be really helpful. There is a final place that I want to talk about, and I've hinted to it here a few minutes ago, is don't make the other person's pain all about you. When someone comes and says, hey, I want to let you know that I'm feeling really hurt and kind of disappointed. I really thought that you'd respond in another way, and I'm feeling pretty let down. Now, if you immediately say, oh, don't feel that way, you shouldn't feel that way, I feel bad, well, now I feel bad. It's like, wait a minute. The person you love and care about just said, I am in pain, and I choose to tell you about it. And if you respond with how hurt you are about their pain, that's called codependent. It's probably a term that just has gotten thrown around way too much. But it basically says that I can't allow you to have your feelings without me having this big reaction inside of me and pulling all the attention back to me. It's a very simple thing that says, hey, I'm so sorry that you're hurting. Yeah, I'm going to be struggling with that for a while. but I'm sorry that you're hurting. So this whole thing of feelings, it can get a little bit challenging. You can already tell it can get a little bit complex. And one of the biggest challenges is that many of us were raised in environments where we have no feeling vocabulary. We're having to start fresh as adults. We were raised in environments perhaps where people said, don't really care about your feelings. That's some parenting styles. Sometimes there were other things going on in the family system, or sometimes it's just some beliefs that the kid came up with. But now we're adults, and we get to acknowledge that our feelings really matter. We matter to God. And the sooner we start identifying them and speaking to those people that we love and who matter to us, the better we'll be able to move to a place of really finding who God wants us to be. Thanks.